Chapter 1. An Unexpected Visitor. In a small, cozy house at the edge of the Sparklewood lived a young girl named Lily. She loved to play in her garden, among the colorful flowers and the towering, ancient trees that made the forest seem so mysterious. People in town said the Sparklewood was just an ordinary forest, but Lily knew better. Sometimes, if she listened closely, she could hear a faint crackle and hiss, like tiny shooting stars falling to earth. One afternoon, as the late sun cast golden rays through the leaves and stretched their shadows long, Lily discovered something unusual. She had just set her watering can down by the old oak tree that bordered her garden. Between the tree's roots, half hidden under a layer of moss and fern, lay a small, glowing object. It was a tiny, delicate silver key that pulsed faintly as if it had a life of its own. It was cool, but not cold, and as Lily picked it up, she felt a strange tingling sensation in her fingertips. She carefully turned it in the light. It was beautiful and ancient, with runes she couldn't decipher. Lily's heart pounded with excitement. What kind of key was this? And to what door? What secret did it belong?
Chapter 2. The Talking Fox. The next morning, Lily could think of nothing but the key. She carefully tucked it into the pocket of her overalls before going to the kitchen for breakfast. But when she returned to the garden after the meal to look at it again, her pocket was empty. The key was gone. Lily panicked. Had she lost it? Had she imagined the whole thing? Desperate, she ran back under the old oak tree where she had found it. There, where the roots were thickest, sat an animal. It was a fox, but it was no ordinary fox. Its fur was deep red, almost fiery, and as it lifted its head and looked at Lily, its eyes shone with a warm, intelligent golden hue. As Lily approached, the fox spoke with a deep, gentle voice that sounded like the rustle of leaves in the wind. "Are you looking for this, little human?" In its mouth, it held the delicate silver key. Lily was speechless. A talking fox! She slowly knelt down, unable to utter a word. The fox dropped the key at Lily's feet. "My name is Fennel. I am the guardian of the Sparklewood, and this key is not yours, but it chose you. The key chooses its bearer. It belongs to the hidden treasure that protects the forest and all of us. But the magic is fading. That is why the key called to you."
Chapter 3. The Decision and the Departure. Lily stared at Fennel the fox. Her initial astonishment slowly subsided, replaced by an overwhelming curiosity and a tingling excitement. She felt a sense of responsibility in her chest, warm and heavy like a pebble. "What exactly is the treasure?" Lily asked softly, carefully touching the edge of the key with her thumb. "You will see when you open the door," Fennel replied mysteriously. "But the path to the hidden tree castle is not easy. It leads through 3 trials: the trial of knowledge, of courage, and of trust. Are you ready, Lily? The Sparklewood calls you to its rescue." Lily closed her eyes, inhaled the deep, earthy scent of the forest, and nodded determinedly. She carefully tucked the silver key into her pocket. "I'm ready, Fennel. Show me the way." Fennel grinned, an almost human, warm smile, and turned. He led Lily deep into the forest, to where the winding path began, a path visible only to those who believed in magic. Through the thick, moss-covered branches, light filtered like golden dust. They walked past gnarled oak trees whose roots crossed the path like intertwined snakes, and past bushes whose berries glowed in colors Lily had never seen before: deep indigo, radiant turquoise, and soft violet. Every step led them deeper into the adventure and closer to the pulsating heart of magic. Chapter 4: The Trial of Knowledge, The Riddle of the Owl. The path ended abruptly at a massive, ancient oak covered in strange, glowing runes. This was the threshold to the first trial. Perched high on a massive, mossy branch sat Ilara, the majestic gold-eyed owl, the guardian of knowledge. "Who dares to tread the path of the locked brilliance?" Ilara's voice boomed. After Fennel introduced them, Ilara set the first task. "The first trial is of the mind. Listen closely, for I will only show you the next path if you can solve the Sparklewood's riddle. I am always hungry but need no food. I am never thirsty but drink the light. I have no lungs but I breathe deep. I carry all the colors, yet I am invisible. What am I that lives as long as you protect it and dies when it is forgotten?" Lily pondered the words, looking around at the fading colors and quietness of the woods. Then she understood. "I know it. It is magic, the magic of the Sparklewood. It doesn't eat, but it requires the light and the colors to exist. You can't see it, but you feel it. And it dies when no one believes in it and protects it anymore." Ilara's golden eyes glowed brightly. "Truthfully spoken, the path of courage lies ahead. Go straight until you reach the glittering swamp."
Chapter 5: The Trial of Courage, The Glittering Swamp. Following the owl's directions, they entered the glittering swamp, a landscape thick with mist and the cloying smell of night-blooming moss. It was a kaleidoscope of bioluminescence. Strange, broad-leafed plants pulsed indigo, and towering fungi emitted soft, ethereal green and blue hues. "This is the test of courage," Fennel whispered. "It's the illusions, not the swamp, that are the danger." As they took their first tentative steps, a low, rhythmic thump-thump emerged, and a monstrous, shadowy figure rose from the central mist. Its shape was vast and reptilian, with eyes that glowed an angry crimson. "Turn back, little traveler. The swamp demands tribute. You will be lost here forever," the creature rumbled. Lily gasped, but Fennel reminded her. Courage is acting despite fear. This creature, it only appears fearsome. Lily focused on the monster's unnaturally flat glow and its lack of a true shadow. "You are not real," Lily shouted, her voice shaking slightly but holding firm. "You are just an illusion of the swamp. You are here to test my fear, not to harm me." The moment she spoke the truth, the silhouette wavered, blurred, and vanished with a whoosh of mist, revealing only an ancient log and a large glowing flower that was the source of the thump-thump. They had passed the trial. Chapter 6: The Trial of Trust, The Bridge of Whispers. They emerged onto a cliffside, overlooking the turbulent river of Whispers, a fast-flowing gorge of pure, crystalline light. There was no physical bridge. This was the trial of trust. "The bridge is built of faith," Fennel explained. "We must walk on invisible footholds that only appear when two hearts trust one another completely. If either of us hesitates, the foothold vanishes." Lily closed her eyes, centering herself by focusing on Fennel's steady presence. When she opened them, a single glowing stone appeared in front of her. She stepped onto it. A second stone immediately appeared in front of Fennel. They began their perilous crossing, moving slowly, their eyes locked, ignoring the river's constant murmuring doubts. "Lily, is he really leading you the right way? Fennel, can this young girl truly hold her footing?" They focused only on the certainty of the other's next step. With a final coordinated leap, they reached the opposite bank, their trust unbroken, and the invisible path vanished behind them. Chapter 7: The Hidden Castle and the Heart of the Forest. The path led to an enormous, towering rise in the land, the location of the single largest, oldest tree, which had been cloaked in invisibility. Fennel led her to a smooth section of the bark with a spiraling keyhole. "The hidden tree castle," Fennel breathed. "The key, Lily. It must be placed in the heart of the protector." Lily inserted the silver key. With a deep, resonant clunk, the bark magically dissolved, revealing the archway of the hidden tree castle, a vast, organic cathedral bathed in soft light. At the center, suspended over a pool of pure water, was the treasure, the crystal of color. It was immense and flawed, but dim and muted, holding only a faint gray-blue pulse, the last remnant of the Sparklewood's true brilliance. "It has been fading because the forest magic outside has been neglected," Fennel explained. "The energy you carried, the knowledge, the courage, and the trust will channel through the key and reignite the crystal of color." Lily reached out and pressed the silver key against the crystal. A blinding, magnificent surge of energy erupted. The faint gray-blue pulse exploded into a torrent of breathtaking color. Scarlet, sapphire, and emerald. A massive, warm wave of color swept out from the castle and into the forest. Lily heard a collective sigh of relief from the woods. The Sparklewood was alive again. Exhausted but elated, Lily pulled the key away. It was just plain silver again. "You have saved us, Lily," Fennel said, his voice full of emotion. "The key stays with you. It is your connection to the Sparklewood, and a reminder that true magic is found in knowledge, courage, and trust." Lily hugged the fox tightly. She was no longer just a girl. She was the girl who saved the Sparklewood. Chapter 8: The Silver Key's Silence. 1 year had passed since Lily saved the Sparklewood. Her home garden was now the most vibrant, bustling place imaginable. The flowers bloomed in colors that defied naming, and the air was perpetually sprinkled with tiny, harmless motes of magic, the very particles of life she had helped restore. Lily was no longer the girl who merely played in the garden. She was the silent guardian, the holder of the silver key. She kept the key tucked into a small velvet pouch and wore it always on a leather cord around her neck, hidden beneath her shirt. Every afternoon, she would touch the cool metal, remembering the trials and the fierce loyalty of her fox friend, Fennel. But recently, the key had changed. For months after the adventure, the key had pulsed with a faint, comforting warmth, occasionally tingling against her skin. Now, it was cold. Not just cool, but truly cold, like metal left outside on a winter's night. The familiar magic was gone, replaced by a strange, heavy silence. Lily stood under the great oak, the border to the Sparklewood. She could still hear the happy crackling of the magic, yet the wood itself felt thinner. The vibrant colors in the deeper forest seemed muted, not fading to gray, but simply less loud, as if the magic were being muffled. "Fennel," she whispered to the wind. "Are you there?" She waited for the familiar rustle of leaves, the scent of wood smoke and wild berries that usually heralded his presence. Nothing. The silence was unsettling. The trees seemed to listen, but none answered. Suddenly, a disturbance rippled through the air. It wasn't a visual change, but a sound, or rather, the lack of one. The cheerful chirp of a bluebird high in the branches simply stopped. Then the faint hum of the moss disappeared. It was as if the sounds of the Sparklewood were being quietly swallowed by an invisible void. The magic wasn't leaving. It was falling silent. Lily looked down at the silver key. Its surface was now coated in a thin, crystalline frost, despite the warm weather. Whatever was happening in the Sparklewood, it had found the key first. Chapter 9: the forest's keeper. Lily felt the key's chill penetrate her shirt. The silence of the forest was now almost absolute. Even the slight breeze that usually made the leaves dance seemed mute. She had to find Fennel. The Sparklewood needed its keeper. She rushed along the winding path, the same one they had taken together a year ago. Where light had once filtered like golden dust, it was now diffused and pale. The luminous berries hanging from the bushes seemed to have almost entirely lost their inner glow. Lily knew this wasn't a weakening of the magic again, but a muffling. Something was swallowing the sounds and colors without destroying the life force itself. Not yet. As she ventured deeper, Lily noticed faint, almost invisible tracks in the damp forest floor. Too large for squirrels, too careful for deer. Fox prints. They followed a zigzag line, suggesting a search or a flight, and finally led Lily to a small, unassuming rock ledge hidden behind a dense curtain of ivy. There, she found Fennel. The red fox was lying on the flat stone slab, but he was not asleep. His golden eyes were open and alert, fixed on a spot in the air in front of him. His usually fiery coat looked dull, and his tail lay motionless. He looked exhausted. "Fennel!" Lily called out softly, rushing to his side. Fennel didn't even flinch. He blinked slowly, recognized her, and let out a soft whimper that seemed to be stifled in the silence. "Lily," he breathed, his voice barely a whisper, not the familiar rustle of leaves. "What is wrong? The forest is silent, and the key is cold." Lily held up the cold, frosted key. Fennel sighed. "It is the silence, Lily. The Sparklewood echoes are fading. Something that lies deep beneath the river of time has awakened. It is not a being of flesh and blood, but a vacuum, a place without sound, without feeling. It is spreading, erasing the echoes of magic, the stories, the songs that keep our wood alive." He nodded toward the rock face. "I can see it, but I cannot touch it. It is a barrier, a mirror that consumes light." Fennel tried to stand, but his legs gave way. "The silence has caught me. It steals my connection to the Sparklewood. I can no longer walk. But you can, Lily. You are the only one who belongs to both the human world and the heart of the magic." Chapter 10. The Muffled Path. Lily looked at the exhausted Fennel, her heart swelling with determination. She knew the responsibility was hers again. She carefully wrapped the key back into its pouch, its coldness a constant reminder of the urgent danger. If it's a vacuum, a place without sound, how do I fight something that isn't really there? Lily asked, kneeling beside him. Fennel used his nose to nudge a tiny dry patch of moss beside the stone. The moss was entirely gray, drained of color. "The silence comes from the unwritten places, Lily. They are spots where stories were forgotten, where songs went unsung. The only way to combat a vacuum is with its opposite, sound and memory." He weakly pointed his gaze towards the deep forest canopy. "The source is beneath the oldest, deepest root of the whispering birch. The tree itself will guide you, but its whispers are now muffled. You must make it remember." Lily stood up. "How do I make a tree remember?" "By singing its forgotten song," Fennel murmured, closing his eyes. "The Sparklewood has always been held together by the sounds of the past. Look for the ancient runes on the path. They are the lyrics. But be quick, Lily. The silence will erase everything if it reaches the crystal of color." Lily nodded, taking in the full weight of the task. She gave Fennel a reassuring pat and turned to enter the deepest part of the wood. The silence here was chilling, pressing down on her ears and making her own footsteps sound unnaturally loud. She walked for what felt like an hour, pushing past branches that looked heavy and damp, even though they were dry. Just when she started to doubt she was on the right path, she spotted it. A set of carvings on the bark of an ancient silver-white birch tree. The carvings were not runes like those on Alara's oak, but rather simple, stylized musical notes, part of an ancient song. She followed the path and soon found another tree and another, each bearing the next line of the strange, silent music. She realized the trees were themselves the sheet music, spread out across the forest floor. She stopped at a small grove where 4 trees encircled a dark, root-covered opening in the ground. Here, the silence was deepest. Lily could barely hear her own breath. The 4 surrounding trees bore the final, most complex notes of the silent song. This was the entrance to the Unwritten Places. Lily knew she couldn't simply walk in. The vacuum would swallow her memory and her courage instantly. She had to use the song. She looked at the 4 trees, taking a deep breath. She started to sing the notes she had traced, her voice wavering slightly in the profound silence. She sang the ancient, wordless melody, the one hidden for generations. As the final note left her lips, something extraordinary happened. The silver key, cold around her neck, suddenly pulsed with a brief, brilliant flash of warmth. The 4 trees around the opening simultaneously glowed, and the thick, root-covered earth split open, revealing a small, dark stone staircase descending into the silent earth. The muffled path was open.
Chapter 11. The Unwritten Places. Lily did not hesitate. The light from the 4 birch trees only faintly illuminated the dark stone staircase, but the shaft leading into the earth was profoundly silent. She gripped the frozen silver key inside its pouch and began her descent. The deeper she sank, the cooler and stranger the air became. It didn't smell of earth or damp stone, but of absence, like an empty book or a room without walls. The only sound was the slight scuff of her boots on the stone, and even that sound seemed muffled and distant. The stairs ended in a huge, cavern-like room whose ceiling was formed by the intertwined, thick roots of ancient trees. These roots did not pulse, as the living heart of the Sparklewood should. They were smooth, black, and seemed to absorb light. In the center of the room, there was no treasure, no monster, and no creature. There was only the wall of silence. It looked like a massive, upright mirror of deep black glass, yet when Lily held her hand up to it, there was no reflection. The surface did not attract light, it completely devoured it. The vacuum Fennel had spoken of. It was the source of the fading echoes. As Lily approached, she felt a cold, mental emptiness. Her thoughts became indistinct. She tried to recall Fennel's warm fur or the golden color of the crystal of color, but the images dissolved before she could grasp them. The wall was trying to erase her memories, to turn her into an unwritten place herself. "You won't make me forget," Lily whispered, though the words died soundlessly in the quiet. She looked around and saw strange, shimmering shadows on the roots forming the ceiling. They moved irregularly, like flickering images in a film running too fast. One shadow danced the waltz of a tiny, sparkling insect. Another twitched in the pattern of laughter or a loud cry. Still another formed the outline of an ancient fox with glowing eyes. These were the echoes, the lost sounds and memories of the Sparklewood swallowed by the wall of silence, but not yet completely erased. Lily remembered Fennel's words, sound and memory. To break the silence, she had to retrieve the echoes and make the forest's music ring again. She realized the frozen silver key was the conduit. It was cold because it had been contaminated by the silence, but it was also the channel to the Sparklewood's heart. Lily had to find a way to free the echoes from the roots and thread them through the key into the wall of silence.
But how could she free sounds and memories when the wall swallowed everything? She recalled the melody she had sung to open the path. She had to do it again, louder and with more feeling, to awaken the stuck echoes. Lily stepped forward to the wall of silence, took a deep breath, and began to sing the melody of the Unwritten Places. Chapter 12. The Forgotten Song. Lily stood before the wall of silence and sang. Her voice was initially just a thin thread in the overwhelming emptiness, but she sang the ancient melody of the birches, the tune of the unwritten places, with all the strength she could muster. The wall of silence reacted instantly. A wave of coldness and oblivion shot from its surface, aimed directly at Lily's mind. The chill tried to choke her words and erase her memories of Fennel, the Sparklewood, and even her own name. Lily squeezed her eyes shut and focused on the glow of the color crystal, on Fennel's warm red fur, and the feeling of adventure when she first held the silver key. She allowed her memories to become the sound that had to break through the wall. As the second verse of the song began, something extraordinary happened. The flickering shadows of the echoes on the ceiling, the sounds and songs of the forest, were no longer moving randomly. They seemed drawn to Lily's melody. The dancing shadow of an insect waltz and the pattern of fox laughter began to synchronize with her voice. "Come to me," Lily sang, and in her mind she reached out her hand to grasp the lost echoes. In that moment, the silver key at her neck pulsed. The thin layer of frost shattered and fell away. The key did not glow with the warm, life-giving magic of the Sparklewood, but with a clear, steel-blue light, the color of pure memory. It was no longer a treasure, but a conductor for the lost echoes. The shadows of the echoes detached from the roots and raced towards Lily. They did not fly into her, but gathered around the now glowing silver key. Lily was no longer singing alone. Her voice was surrounded by the invisible song of 1,000 trees, the delicate clicking of magic, and the joyful howl of a fox, Fennel's echo. Together they were an overwhelming wave of sound and emotion. Lily aimed the shining silver key like a wand at the black wall of silence. She sang the final, most powerful passage of the forgotten song. It was a song about the deep root of the Sparklewood, about the light that drives away the night, and about the truth that must never be forgotten. When the sound, amplified by the 1,000 echoes, struck the wall, there was no great bang. Instead, there was a noise that almost deafened Lily. The absence of noise. The silence itself collided with the song, and for a moment there was a perfect null point, a moment where existence and absence merged. Then the magic happened. The song was stronger. The black wall of silence began to dissolve, not into smoke, but into color. Spreading outwards from the center, vibrant shades, the golden light of day, the deep indigo of night, ate into the blackness. The wall warped, crackled, and finally shattered into 1,000 shards of pure, black nothingness. The shards fell into the earth and vanished without a trace. The room breathed. A warm current of air flowed through the cavern from above, and the roots on the ceiling began to pulse in their healthy, earthy brown. Sound returned, not loud, but alive. Lily heard the drip of water, the crackle of roots, and the soft but unmistakable heartbeat of the Sparklewood. She had defeated the silence.
Chapter 13. The Return of the Echoes. As the black shards of the wall of silence disappeared into the earth, a deep, resonant hum filled the cavern. It was the sound of the Sparklewood's memories rushing back into their proper place. The roots above began to glow faintly with soft internal light, pulsing with life and story. Lily felt a powerful, joyous vibration travel up the silver key and into her heart. The key itself dimmed, returning to its plain, cool silver state, its task complete. She clutched it tight, feeling the profound relief of the entire magical forest. The fading echoes were fading no more. She rushed back up the winding stone staircase. As she climbed, the air grew warmer and the silence was replaced by a rising tide of sound. First, the gentle drip of water, then the sigh of wind in the canopy, and finally the faint, cheerful crackle and hiss of magic returning to full strength. When Lily emerged from the root-covered opening, the change was astonishing. The grove of birch trees was now shining brilliantly white, their branches rustling in a symphony of sound. The thick silence was gone, replaced by the natural, vibrant chaos of a healthy, living forest. The leaves were once again drinking the light, and the berries pulsed with deep indigo and radiant turquoise. "Fennel!" Lily called out, running toward the rock ledge where she had left the fox. The scent of wood smoke and wild berries hit her first, the familiar, comforting scent that meant he was well. Fennel was no longer lying listlessly on the stone slab. He was sitting up, his head high, and his coat was blazing red and gold in the newly vibrant light. He turned his head toward her, and his golden eyes, no longer dull, sparkled with intense warmth and intelligence. "Lily," he said, his voice returning to its familiar, deep tone like the sound of rustling autumn leaves. "The music has returned. The stories are safe. You sang them home." Lily ran the last few steps and hugged him fiercely. She felt the powerful, steady beat of his heart against her cheek and the solid strength of his body. "You're back!" Fennel nudged her hand, glancing at the plain silver key she still held. "The key chose correctly, little human. First, it led you to the heart of our life, and then it became the channel for our soul. You brought the knowledge, the courage, and the trust necessary to keep the physical magic safe. And now you've brought the sound and the memory needed to keep the spirit of the forest whole." He looked toward the deepest part of the wood. "The silence is broken, but the unwritten places must never be forgotten again. We must ensure the ancient songs are always sung." Lily nodded, slipping the key back into its velvet pouch. "I won't let it happen, Fennel. We'll be the keepers of the songs." Together, they walked out of the deep wood and back toward the familiar path leading to Lily's garden. The forest around them was singing, a chorus of thousands of tiny, beautiful sounds, all the echoes restored to their rightful place. Lily smiled, knowing that their adventure wasn't truly over. It was simply settling into a new rhythm. She was the keeper of the key and the singer of the forgotten songs, ready for whatever quiet mysteries the magical woods might hold next. The end of the adventure.
Don't forget to like, subscribe,